Quinn thought he was under a time frame. He wanted to be the first person to kill the beast. After hearing about the description, he had an idea. Quinn stopped just in front of the boulder and readied himself. He looked around him just in case. Even though he was out of the area the students were supposed to be in, he was unsure if there might have been a stray. "Doesn't look like anyone's around," Quinn said. He was unaware that he was being watched by Fex. Using strings as he walked between trees in the air, he made his movements silently, and now he was carefully watching Quinn from above. Quinn stomped his foot onto the ground, raised the energy inside him, and pulled back his arm as he let his other fist outward at the same time. He activated his skill Blood Spray to create his still most powerful strike, Blood Hammer. If he couldn't damage the outside, then he would go for an attack that hurt the inside. As his fist hit the shell, the powerful impact caused a loud bang. It sounded like someone had shot off a bullet in the middle of the forest. The beast had a large crack in the boulder, and black liquid was slowly dripping out from it. "Was that the hammer strike?" Fex said as he watched in shock. "But I thought he was a complete beginner." "No, he is a complete beginner." The hammer strike was an advanced move that was only usually taught to students after they understood the basics of martial arts. But after teaching Quinn, Fex decided to not teach him anything else. Yet, here he had just witnessed Quinn perform a skill beyond the basic martial arts, just like the flash step. So he really must have a teacher then. Maybe they're the one that taught him the shadow ability as well? I need to find out more, Fex thought. Basic beast has been killed. 50 EXP gained. First time Boulder Snail. 100 bonus EXP gained. You are the first person to kill Boulder Snail. 5,000 bonus EXP gained. Looks like I made it in time, Quinn said. After looking at the results of being the first person to kill such a beast, he was even happier with the decision he made. Now, the loud sound that erupted from the impact of the blood hammer on the beast's shell had echoed throughout the forest. Even the students who were 200 meters or so could hear it, but they chose to ignore it since the sound was a distance away. It wasn't their concern. But the sound had traveled a good distance. Within its chambers, a large figure dwelling deep inside a cave awoke. Bloodshot red eyes flared open as it made its move towards the sound. A stab with her rapier, Faye jumped back to avoid the black blood that would spurt out from the beast. Then a quick change of her weapons that couldn't be followed by regular human eyes. She had changed to a sword. She swirled around and struck the snake-like beast from the tail up, slicing its body in half. "Was that all of them?" Faye said in an annoyed voice as she looked at the shy female teacher. "Yes," the teacher replied as she bowed her head in shame. After the distress call was received from one of the groups, Faye came at full speed towards the area. It seemed like the students had encountered a group of intermediate-tier beasts. The snake-like creature hung above the trees. When the students entered the area to explore, they had dropped down. The female teacher was frightened, and before even confirming what level of beasts they were, she had asked for help. When Faye arrived, she was annoyed. She could tell just from a glance that these beasts weren't above the intermediate level, and as the students, including the teacher herself, engaged in combat, she could as well. But once the distress signal was already called, it meant Faye had to check it out no matter what, and while she was here, she felt like she should quickly help the students deal with the situation. An intermediate beast could be dealt with by a group of 5, but it would still be a hard task and distract them from their goal. Looking at the teacher, Faye was about to give her a scolding. Just then, a ding sound was heard, and her watch lit up again. "Another one! I swear if this is the same thing, I will be having a word with all the first-year teachers when I get back." With those words said in anger, she left the site. The teacher felt like fate was on her side and had stopped her from getting a scolding as she wiped the sweat from her forehead. 5,330 out of 400 EXP. You are now level 13. 2 stat points have been gained. 4,930 out of 800 XP. You are now level 14. 2 stat points have been gained. 4,130 of 1,600 EXP. You are now level 15. 2 stat points have been gained. 2,530 out of 3,200 EXP points. For defeating the new type of beast, Quinn had gained a bonus of 5,000 points, which had leveled him up a total of 3 times, and now he also had 6 free stat points to play with. This was the result of being the first to kill an undiscovered beast, and it was only the basic tier. So far, the system had always rewarded Quinn more when killing beasts of a higher tier, although he did receive less EXP for killing a basic tier beast after evolving, similar to how he obtained no EXP from fighting low-level students. If this was to continue, as Quinn leveled up, he would not only have to look for higher-level opponents, but also higher-level beasts for EXP. Did this mean at some point Quinn would no longer receive EXP? There had to be a cap to these things, and once Quinn was strong enough, he would no longer be able to obtain EXP even from the strongest of enemies. But Quinn could never imagine that happening. For now, he thought it was best if he was to keep these stat points in reserve. The stat points automatically add up when he consumes blood, especially O-type. Quinn would have to immediately choose what the stat would go into before progressing. However, it wasn't the same when leveling up. The stat could be saved, and just underneath his status screen, a number would appear, displaying how many stat points he could use. Quinn wanted to place the stat points into his charm skill. It was more beneficial for him to increase this skill, so he could get more blood in the future. But right now, there wasn't anyone else traveling on their own, and it would be hard for him to not be caught. Still, the orange portal planet was a dangerous place, and Quinn didn't know when he might need to use his other stats for dangerous situations. Before leaving the area, Quinn managed to shove his hand into the small crack he had made. The shell now seemed a lot softer and was easier to break. Since the beast was dead, the crystal inside was no longer powering its defensive capabilities. After swirling his hand around inside the beast, he eventually felt a solid object and pulled the crystal out, even though it was only a basic tier crystal. Quinn was already thinking about what type of armor the crystal could be used for. It had a good defense, after all, so it would be best made into either a defensive item or a piece of armor. The crystal was stored in his system inventory. Quinn had returned to his group, and he could see Fex by Sia's side as well. He had managed to leave just after seeing Quinn kill the beast, and did not see what Quinn had done with the crystal after. As Quinn walked past him and went to join up with Peter, Fex did his best to look as unsuspicious as possible. He started whistling away while looking through the trees. "Did you do something wrong?" Sia asked. She could tell that Fex was acting strange ever since he returned. Hearing this caused Fex to jolt back a bit. "No, I'm just getting bored. Why would I have anything to hide? Maybe you have something to hide, and that's why you're accusing me of having something to hide," Fex replied. "You know, that's a classic line by someone who's been caught," Sia replied as she walked off, already uninterested in whatever Fex was trying to hide. It had been over an hour now, and the group had a total of 60 points. They had finally recovered from their deficit. They were unable to see where they were, as none of the groups knew each other's scores. But they had a rough idea from watching, and with the 50-point deduction, they wouldn't be surprised if they were still in the last place.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.